After a week of fun, it is almost game day. Nole Insiders game preview from the Sun Bowl. We're here at the Sun Bowl. Beautiful landscape here in El Paso. Nole Insiders Lane Hurt and Tim Linnefelt. Tim, it's been a fun week for the players. Let's start there. Do you think the guys have enjoyed their bowl experience?
I really do think they have. You know, I was talking to Cole Minshew not too long after the plane landed, way back on Thursday, and he said he's been to the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, the Orange Bowl, been a lot of different places in his college football career, and he said he thinks this tops them all. He's never been to a place like this. Obviously, a beautiful landscape here in El Paso with the mountain range, the deserts. It's all just been a really cool scene, a really cool backdrop for a pretty busy week for the guys. I mean, they've spent time at Fort Bliss, the Army base. They were hypnotized. Some of them were hypnotized anyway. A hospital visit, all kinds of things. Probably something that's slipping my mind right now, but they've been going pretty much sun up to sundown between that and the practices out at the high school. It's been a really busy week for Florida State.
There is a game, Arizona State, the opponent. Let's start with both offenses. There's some similarities there. Both offenses are going to be missing main weapons. Florida State, Cam Akers, obviously. Arizona State, their top running back and wide receiver will miss the game. Well, who kind of has the advantage there?
I don't really know. It's hard to say. Like, this game has been a mystery to me pretty much since the matchup was announced, and I don't know that we've been able to glean a whole lot since then. I mean, obviously, like you said, Cam Akers not available for Florida State, but you'd like to think that the loss of Eno Benjamin, Arizona State star running back, would maybe cancel that out a little bit. It's just so hard to say. Between the shorthanded rosters and then bowl games can always kind of be a bit of a mystery anyway. I don't know. I think I'm kind of in the dark with everybody else. I'm just kind of anxious to see what's going to happen here because trying to project what's going to happen, I think, is a challenge, a real big challenge.
Defensively, Arizona State, Odell Hagan said, is a team that is aggressive. They run to the ball. They create a bunch of turnovers. Florida State, they've been nailed by the injury bug. Marvin Wilson, Hamza Nasruddin, I mean, that's just a couple of the guys who have missed significant time and will be out for this game. Where do you see defensively a team possibly having an edge?
Well, you'd like to see hopefully that pass rush and some of those other defensive linemen that have played well in Marvin Wilson's absence. You'd like to see them step up. Corey Durden, Robert Cooper, those guys have played well even after Marvin Wilson went down, and you'd like them to have a big game. And the key for Florida State is with that the running back and receiver both out. Arizona State, I think, is going to rely pretty heavily on their quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He's a true freshman, and he runs as well as he passes. He's thrown for, I think 17 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He's run for 400 yards. With Eno Benjamin out, he's actually their leading rusher, so something to keep an eye on. So what you like to see is create pressure with that front four, let your linebackers and DBs do their jobs and keep contained on the quarterback and try to keep him in the pocket. That's what Leonard Warner was saying the other day is, with any mobile quarterback, it's not a secret. You want to keep him contained. Don't let him get out on the edge. Don't let him get one-on-one matchups. And then you like your chances if, make him throw downfield and see what he can do there.
It's also been an incredibly newsy week off the field as new head coach Mike Norvell has made several staff announcements this week. You also have the news breaking today that Tamorrion Terry and Marvin Wilson are both coming back for another season at Florida State. What sticks out to you first in those two players' decisions, and then maybe in some of the personnel that Coach Norvell has hired this week?
Oh, my goodness. Well, to start with Tamorrion and Marvin, I mean, what a huge deal for Florida State, and quite frankly, a big victory for Mike Norvell. I mean, we both kind of talked about the idea that National Signing Day, the early signing period was a couple weeks ago, and National Signing Day is a few weeks away. But in a sense, you just added more or less 2 5-star talents to your team. I get guys that you weren't sure were going to be here next year, and that who quite frankly could have chosen to go pursue professional football if they'd wanted to. But I think it speaks to those two guys and who they are, and you talk the idea of Marvin Wilson has said to anybody who'll listen how much he loves Florida State. He loves playing football, but he loves being a student athlete at Florida State. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. And when you have the kind of pedigree and production that he does, and you see his name on mock drafts, all that sort of thing. I mean, that's a guy that if he wanted to could potentially be really rich in a few months. But he really likes being at Florida State, and I think how else can you what a better way to say that than to commit for another year? And then same thing for Tamorrion Terry. I mean, he was a diamond in the rough prospect, but when you look at the way that he's played and what he's done, and certainly the way that he attacks defenses deep, I mean, he affects everything for opposing defenses and opens up the passing game, the running game. He's played like a top draft prospect, a 5-star prospect, and the idea that if you look at the NFL, their obsession with guys who are Tamorrion's size and have the kind of speed that he does, I mean, yeah, there's somebody that would have taken him. There's no doubt about it. And then to me, you look at it, it speaks to Mike Norvell. I mean, he met with those guys individually, talked to them about his vision, his roadmap for success at Florida State, and those guys bought into it. And not only is it big to have those guys in the fold on the roster, but for everybody else on the team that's wondering what the new coaching staff is going to be like, or what's the deal with Mike Norvell, what are we in for, to see somebody like Marvin Wilson say, you know what, yeah, I'm in, to see Tamari Terry say, you know what, yeah, I'm in, that just makes it so much easier for everybody else to commit to it as well. So it's a huge deal.
There you have it, Seminole fans. It's the Noles and the Sun Devils, high noon local time here in El Paso, as Florida State looks to end their 2019 season on a high note, moving into what could be a very exciting 2020. That'll wrap things up for now. For Tim, I'm Lane. Go Noles.